So I finally have the Pixel Fold. It felt like forever, even though it hasn't really been that long. But yeah, let's open it up and see what's inside. Alright, so now looking at the box open, we got the Pixel Fold already folded up, which is not the standard what I've seen, at least with Samsung. The way they deliver the phones, Samsung delivers their phones open, and Google decided to go with the folded delivery, which is perfectly fine. I don't see a benefit either way. So now take this off, and we see the Pixel Fold. A little bit. Alright, so first impressions from the look, the size is very promising. It looks like it's going to be a very useful phone. The buttons feel really nice. They're very clickable. The sensor / power button sticks out just enough so you know it's there, which is great, rather than flush. I've had some issues with the Samsung power buttons on their foldables, so they make it flush, which is nice for, I guess, maybe appeal, physical appeal, and the button won't get damaged or any chance of it getting pried out. But it does make it a little bit difficult to find the button without looking sometimes, not always. So I do like the fact that the power button is protruding a little bit, just enough that you can feel it and you know that that's where your thumb sensor is. The volume buttons might feel a little bit low, but I think it's perfectly fine, since in the normal holding position that we have here, the power button is basically perfect for at least for my hand size, so that's a big plus. It could have probably used maybe a little bit further up, especially for those that have slightly longer fingers. But overall, I think the button placement is really good. I do like the way that the camera bump is designed on this phone. It provides some of that stop for your finger, which is always cool with the Pixels. The biggest thing, which is the first that's really been seen in the US, is that it closes flush. So this is basically the first phone in the US to fold flush, even though no, it's not the first one in the world. All right, so in terms of carrying it, I heard it explained once where it's kind of, when carrying the phone or holding the phone, kind of feels like if you're holding a regular phone with a case on it, and I would say it's pretty accurate. It does feel a little bit wider than I'm used to. The thickness is not a problem at all, really. But yeah, overall, it's a very comfortable hold, especially since it has a rounded edge. I'm a righty, I'm only with a right. And really the phone is really made to be used with the right hand, or most phones are really, because the buttons tend to be on the right side. The curve on the bottom here makes it very comfortable to hold. I'm liking that already. So if I was a lefty, there will be some pinching there or stabbing maybe, but it's not sharp though, so it's not bad. Obviously, it's just better if you are able to hold it on the curved side. Now opening it, let's go to the open process. All right, so it feels very smooth. The pressure is very consistent all the way across. And then when you get to the end, so the end does feel a little bit weird. It's not bad, by no means, but the end does feel a little bit almost spongy. Yeah, I think spongy is a word, because it doesn't have that snap that the Z Fold 3 has, and I'm sure the Z Fold 4 has it as well. It kind of snaps flat into place. So I guess that's a difference there, that this one doesn't snap. It just lets you get there at your own pace. I'm sure there's positives to that, in probably that you get to put the phone at more extreme angles when you have it half open. I mean, the hinges feels rock solid. All right, so looking at the exposed hinge areas, it doesn't look that bad. I thought it would look worse, and I think I see something else that it does, because all right, so with the Samsung foldables, it does have a little piece of plastic here, which I think was designed to protect the screen in the opening and closing. When I look at this, when I'm opening it, the protruding or the exposed hinge areas that are in the bezels, they kind of create that functionality without having to have an extra piece. Once it's fully open, it it blends in perfectly with the bezels. So it's probably a decent design. I mean, I guess the only negative of this design is that it's gonna have larger bezels. I think this might be something I could live with. I was definitely a big, I guess, hater on the fact that I saw large bezels on the leaks. The fact that at least they look clean, the bezels look clean, it's something I could definitely live with. Based on the specs, the camera setup is actually very similar to the Z Fold 4. The difference is gonna be really in the enhancements, the software enhancements or the software optimization for the photos. I think for the most part, people really prefer the photo optimization of Google. So this is gonna be where this phone really takes off. In terms of image quality though, they're both gonna be pretty similar. Unfortunately, it's just they're not using the sensors that are in the Pro series. Guess now we'll turn on the phone. I'll go over, you know, some of the things that it does real quick. But I don't want to start comparing, you know, the Pixel Fold to the Samsung experience quite yet. I mean, off the bat, I know that they don't have the same amount of features as Samsung. Samsung really is taking the cake there. I want to see how much those missing features are really going to affect the experience before I really make that. Before I put the video out there. So there's already an update, so a launch update. That's interesting. I guess they already figured something out that's problematic with the Fold, and so they already released an update on day one. All right. So about this updates, so I thought like this is gonna be annoying because I'm so used to Samsung having the taskbar there all the time. And like it's gonna interfere with the going home, but really it's not. So I can see moments in which the hideaway taskbar or the non-permanent taskbar can be problematic, but for 99% of the time, I think it's gonna be a really good experience. Now I do see that the photo is cropped. That immersive crop 3.4 is gonna crop down. I don't think it's gonna crop down the entire image. I think it's only cropping down the Y. Alright, so comparing these two images, which I'll put on the screen, yeah, it crops it quite a bit. I just wouldn't turn it on. I'd rather just take that picture and then crop it afterward if I want to, because it's gonna be the exact same result. I am happy about this aspect ratio that it opens up into landscape view right off the bat, and it's just gonna make my experience better. I can pretty much guarantee it. After I spend some time with it, I'll definitely go over it. But I do expect a big improvement in that part, and you know, ease of use and just overall user experience is gonna be great. The fingerprint is really smooth. As soon as I press the button, before I even bring it up, it already scans my finger as I'm pressing it, and so it just, when I press the button, it opens up into the screen already. That's very nice. Well, actually, I can show you right here. It's instant. I mean, the way that Google did that, plus the effect, the video effect, screen effect, is very nice. Going into where the power button is, or coming out of the corner where the power button is. All right, so using it, so I almost reach all the way across. It's not a big deal. So that's me holding it like as secure as possible, where my fingers are on this side here. I could almost reach all the way across. So if I were to hold it how I sometimes hold it when I want to have more access with my thumb, I could definitely reach all the way across. Now getting to where the Z Fold's pain point is in terms of the outer screen, the typing on the outside screen, and this is one, the thickness is actually very comfortable because it's not too thin. It's like on the thicker side of the regular phones, which makes it comfortable here. And then typing is, the buttons are normal sized. I mean, they're not squished in and tiny, so you don't have to go with the tip of your finger to try to be more accurate. It lets you type very comfortably, and I'm liking that very much. That's like what I expected already based on the aspect ratio, so I'm not surprised about it. Just, you know, happy that I'm confirming it right now. All right, so the inside selfie, I'll post this one up. So the inside selfie is pretty decent. Obviously, that's what's expected since they have a camera that's outside the screen. It's not under the screen. I'll take a picture with this one. I mean, I could tell off the camera viewer off the bat, this thing is already a million times better. It's expected though, because the resolution and also the sensor size are gonna lead to way better photos than any of the other sensors. All right, so let me close it up and take a picture with the front camera. All right, so this is with the front lens, and it's actually very comparable to the inside lens, which is a good thing. So that, let's say you have a video call going and you want to go to the bigger screen, you're not gonna lose any quality on it, which is a big plus. that's the plus of having that border. So, you know, pros and cons. Everything in life has pros and cons. It's gonna be no different with this phone. I think the biggest question is gonna be how good is the software and how reliable is it gonna be in the long run? Because Google does not have a great track record of having the most steady software. They have great features, they have a great feel, but every once in a while they just throw a blunder out there, and that gets to people, you know. People kind of give a little bit of leeway with those issues because, you know, their phones are $500 or $600, or in case of the Pixel 7 Pro, it's you know, $900. So it's not at the same price level as the flagships. So people kind of give some leeway there because they're getting a flagship level phone for less. But the fact that this is the exact same price as a Pixel, as a Samsung Z Fold, that leeway completely went away. Any blunders on the software and it's gonna be noticed, and people are gonna complain heavily about it. And then, yeah, the other thing that's been mentioned a lot is, you know, the inside screen is a combination of your first 2 pages on the outside screen. It's not ideal. It would be great if you can just, you know, have 2 completely different setups. But I can see how I can set it up where that's useful. My idea is the apps that I'm gonna be using mostly on the outside, I'll put on the first page, and apps that I would pretty much only use on the inside screen, I will put on the second page, and that should give me a pretty good layout of how I would use a phone. So it's not gonna be a terrible experience just because it's missing that feature. It just takes a little bit of planning is all. Based on what I've seen just from the unboxing, I have high expectations for the phone, and I think as long as the hardware holds up, because it is first gen, so we don't know what kind of issues we're gonna come across that will normally be fixed by gen, you know, 3 and 4. I think it's gonna be a very good experience. So for my final thoughts, it's off the bat, I have high hopes for it based on how it felt just holding it for the first time and looking at it in you know, the aspect ratio, the form factor. I have high hopes for it. I think it's gonna provide a good experience as long as, you know, the build quality and the software holds up. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.